Medigroup Physician Services presents Medigroup's Frank's Fast Five with Healthcare Executives, produced by Bridget Wilson and Carrie Peters. Today's guest is Brad Weissler, Key Account Manager, Uniform Services for Aramark. Now, here's your host, Medigroup's Frank Gillespie.
Hello and welcome once again to another edition of Medigroup's Frank's Fast Five with Healthcare Executives. As you know by now, I'm Frank Gillespie, Medigroup's Vice President for Supply Relations, and today, Key Account Manager, Uniform Services for Aramark. Brad, welcome and thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Frank. Happy to be here. I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great. And we just talked right before I hit the record button. I'm trying to determine if we ever had a chance to meet one another in person with all the things that are going on. So I don't know if we ever determined that officially, but that's okay. We're getting to meet secondarily right here today. So I really appreciate it.
Sure.
Yeah. So, Brad, I promise you we wouldn't waste your time. We jump right into these questions. So the first question is, Brad, how long have you been in this role for Aramark?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm actually in my 18th year with Aramark. My first almost 8 years were in our service operations, and I've been in the key account management role now for 10 years.
I'll be darned. Well seasoned then. I had no idea. That's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, Brad, as Key Account Manager, Uniform Services for Aramark, this is question number 2. What do you specifically do for Aramark and its customers in general?
Yeah, so as Key Account Manager, I manage national programs across our different service markets, right? So I'm a direct liaison between our clients and our different service teams. I manage really all aspects of these programs, right? From implementation of our agreements to, obviously working to retain and grow with our largest partners.
Of course.
That includes things such as service and product support as needed. It's working with our customers to understand their needs and working with our development teams to find new opportunities to grow our services in current sites or work on those locations and sites that don't utilize our services.
No, that makes a lot of sense, and I appreciate that. Is your this is an unofficial question? Are you not limited, but are you just working with GPOs, or do you work with both individual customers, IDNs, and GPOs? Kind of the whole mix.
I work with both, and I work in both the healthcare and our other sectors, right? In the market, I'm based in Missouri and handle a book of business that would cover kind of the central states and programs that are based there.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. Question number 3 then, Brad, how has Aramark addressed its customer needs to address the pandemic over the past year? I mean, that's certainly the topic that everybody at some point addresses.
Yeah, no, and it's a great question. And really, it's really spotlighted the value of our services. What we do, right, is uniforms and different service items that are primarily laundered items. We come in, week out, and we exchange items that are soiled, right, in whatever environment they're in, and process them, return them clean, right? We provide a service that keeps our customers, facilities, employees safer, cleaner, and healthier, right? And so it really has brought that value even more to light with our customer bases. Additionally, one of those service offerings that's really been seen an increased demand is our managed restroom services, which is a suite of paper, soap, hand sanitizer products where we provide the automatic dispensary, and then week in, week out, while we're servicing the locations, we keep those dispensers full, right? So we manage that inventory week to week to keep them. So as you can imagine, right, I know personally, I use far more sanitizer than I did a couple of years ago. I've got 2 young daughters, and I've got sanitizer in the side of my my car door, right? So we use it all the time, and so that's definitely been an increased demand in our services. We also, at the heightened portion of the pandemic, as certain PPE items were hard to come by, we pivoted and we began manufacturing masks. We increased production on isolation gowns, and really we're a partner to our clients, right, in helping, whether we could source them and provide them, or help them find ways in which they could provide those items to keep their folks, safe.
Absolutely. Great answer. And I mean, definitely a continuum of care provided by Aramark out to its end users. So it's really, that's awesome. I mean, and a lot of most all suppliers stepped up to meet some of these changing needs. They had to during this pandemic. So you guys have just built that nice pathway and that continuum of care for the customers. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Brad, okay, last question. As you have effectively served the healthcare community during your career, is there perhaps one thing you learned early on in your career that has been an ongoing force for you still to this day?
That's a good question. And it's, especially in today's environment, right? We provide a wide variety of products and services, right? But healthcare facilities and healthcare associates have a lot on their plate, right? There's no question. And as we talked about, right, with our services, we're not just a delivery organization where we drop off a box of uniforms or mops or mats or whatever the service being used. We're an extension of their team, right? Our service personnel are tenured professionals that work with the sites to make sure they're taken care of. So again, I love what I do. I work for a great organization, having been here 17 years. My service background and experiences, allow me to try and look out for our clients' best interests. And as I'm getting out more and more and into customer sites, it really is refreshing to see and be reminded the value we provide, right? When they talk about our route reps and the little things they do, right, when they're servicing our customers each day.
Of course.
It's a pleasure working with you all. We appreciate your partnership.
And clearly, likewise, we feel the same way. And definitely you bring a passion to what you do. And when we interact on doing an addendum, or you're adding some products or this or that, I mean, it's not a long stretched out period where it's like, Holly, I haven't heard back from him, or he hasn't heard back from me. You're very responsive and delightful and great to work with. So we really appreciate it. And thank you very much for taking some time today to do this. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, it was fun. Thanks for thinking of us.
Of course, absolutely. And we appreciate it very much. I wish you a happy holiday season and a great 2022, and look forward to working with you more in 2022.
Same to you.
This has been MediGroup's Frank's Fast Five with Healthcare Executives, produced by Bridget Wilson and Carrie Peters, and hosted by Frank Gillespie. Special thanks to Brad Weissler, Key Account Manager, Uniform Services for Aramark. This has been a presentation of MediGroup Physician Services.